happy about this morning's live because yesterday we played a theory. We talked about a couple different tokens on an approach to take, and we're going to continue down that same line. I'm a little disappointed to see XLM's up almost 2% now. When I was setting up this live, it was only up about 0.6%, and it was one of my transition moves because I did do an XDC move with the community, which I don't necessarily think it's done yet because it looks like it's breaking out, and we talked about this cup and handle. But I've went from XDC when it hit my resistance, then I flipped it into IOTA, and when that hit the resistance, now I flipped it into XDC, not because I think these are done, but because the style of trades I'm doing, I'm trying to hit them each as they run up through that. And I have it set up in the 4-hour time frame on most. And IOTA made that big move up, but simultaneously, XLM, which had come up in the 2-hourly, it was consolidating as IOTA came up. So IOTA came up to the 2-hourly. I flipped back out as XLM was consolidating here. And now all of a sudden XLM is trying to make this push up. And if it does, what I'm expecting is in the 4-hour time frame, I'm expecting this to play bullish. I'll be very proactive, just like I was with IOTA when I said that I had a stop loss at 148 initially, and then on the re-entry, I put it to 151 and it played out beautiful. With XDC, we talked about the stop losses if you were playing it that way. And I'll start out the same way here because I'm finding a lot more value in trading with the community instead of trading at the community. And what I mean by that is I would say my trades and then I felt like everybody was trading at me. Like they wanted to trade what I was trading, not necessarily listening to the trade itself. So right now, I have it at 234, which is a little bit of a loss there. You could even put it up, I suppose, at 234. Or I mean at 2345, but I like it better at 234. It gives you that opportunity. And I think this flag's going to play out. Now, my measurement was up at 254 initially. But the way it's set up and came down a little bit farther, you're talking about a move up to 262. And that's likely what I'm going to play here for the foreseeable short term because that has been an overzealous consolidation. And for me, initially, like I've said, I know everybody's, happy about the Genius Act or the Big Beautiful, all this crap. But I think initially it brings a pump like we were thinking. But then once all of the finer details, and somebody mentioned it about the Genius Act, how it's going to make Tether and stablecoins pass an independent audit, which is not going to be beautiful for Tether. I can tell you that right now because they can't pass an audit. So I think initially we get these surges, but after, I think is why it becomes a problem. And furthermore, the reason we thought we could get some upward volatility here is that there's 8 dormant wallets that were dormant from 14 years on in Bitcoin, and it contains just over 80,000 Bitcoin, and they were activated for the first time in 14 plus years. It's an average of 14 years. On late Friday, early Saturday. So my logic was a lot of people are going to start going short here, but the philosophy says that they're going to need some kind of volatile surge to the upside if they're going to be selling out all of these tokens. So my thinking was we were actually going to pump after the initial drop. So I've been playing it the whole weekend, and it's been about a $2,000 weekend for me right now. And I'm not flexing, believe me, because somebody's probably made $200,000 or $20,000 this weekend. But just, it's been that kind of a weekend, just the 2-3% moves. For transparency, I'm on, and I was for XDC, same thing for IOTA. I was doing 10x trades outside of XDC because I bought spot because you can't do futures leverage on XDC on BITUNIX. And it was just the way that I've been building capital up, and now it's to the point where I've been doing about $2,400 to $2,500 on 10x, and it's anywhere but like on IOTA's trades, they're about a $300 risk, but they ended up paying off about $1,000 on the IOTA trade, and on XDC spot trade, the first time it paid off like $400, the last time it paid off $787. So it's been pretty lucrative, and right now, I don't remember what I bought XLM at. Like I said, XLM right now, that could risk it. That's like a $400 risk. So don't think that this is just a cakewalk or there's no risk, no reward. That's why I said you've got to trade with me, not at me. Or we can't trade at each other. You've got to understand, like, you've got to put it in your own philosophy. But I opened this trade at 2401. So right now it's up $247 on XLM. So just to flip from one to the next and trying to understand the philosophy. And I waited on XLM. So I think I'm in the right spot. I think we're in the right spot. The thing that makes me so very happy is that last night Shane and this isn't, I'm not pointing at anybody, but Shane had a short and he shared it and he was up a couple percent. And I said, listen, all I said was short question mark. Be very careful with the short taking them out right now, because I didn't think that short was the right decision at that moment, but I didn't want to make the decision. And to his credit, he closed it right away. I even came back and said, I'm sorry, Shane, I didn't mean to, make it. I didn't want to make the decision for you. I remember very clear yesterday. I don't want to really go back through it, but, and to his credit, he closed it and he's seen what I was seeing. And his short was at like 221 and some change. He would have got clobbered right now. No fault of his own, because it looked like a possibility of a short. But I don't want to make people feel like I'm making a decision for him. But I had the oversight on the chart, and I have a lot of respect for Shane. And I didn't want him to give back easy gains. He had a phenomenal trade just before that where he made some money, and I'd rather him use it as a tool. So that's the value I think in the Telegram, because I can see it and I can be like, oh no, like I just not right now, and not by being a dick or anything, but just by having an open conversation. And I was glad this morning to see now with XRP at 228, he was out of the way. Like, to me, that makes my day, because it means what I'm saying and it has a little bit of value with some of you. So, and I see Shane's in here. So good morning, Shane. Welcome in. I know you got into XLM a little while ago, and right now I know it's got to be up at least 1.5% or so. So we're trying to watch this move, and what I'm looking for, Shane, and anybody else who's looking at XLM at this point, if you're an XDC, it's breaking out. So don't make a lateral move right now. It has to be proper positioning. But the one thing I will say about XDC is it's probably at some point going to retest, because look at the golden cross. See how it broke out? What we're targeting right now, and I'm sorry I'm talking a lot, and everybody who decides to stay, this is very, very valuable if you're trying to learn how to trade the intraday trading. And remember what we said the last about month now. We're going to try to take advantage of these weekend trades when most people are afraid because of the thinly traded. We're looking at a common thesis, a common setup. And furthermore, theta is one that I'm looking at. Oh, wait a minute. It already moved. Damn it. It was down this morning. It was kind of lagging behind. Oh, I was like, if it does what it needs to do, I was looking for a push up on XLM before theta makes the break over 71. And if that happens, I wouldn't mind if XLM went to the 200 at the 4 hourly, and then when it does its little consolidation like theta did the back test down before, to reflip now into theta, because theta's back tested the inverse head and shoulders at the neckline, and this looks spectacular. So now I'm looking at the next movement. Man, it's so awesome to see ACH, because that was one of the targets yesterday too. It ended up having the bigger move. That would have been the right play. Well, there's no wrong play here. Unless you're losing money, there's really no wrong play. But I don't know, though. It still makes me nervous, just because of where we're at. So we have to be very vigilant, because, it might be the right move time and time again. And then all of a sudden, the market reverses down. Sundays always make it interesting. So what I'm looking for in XLM is this continued movement up to the 200-day. It seems to work very nicely where that resistance is around the 24.8 cent mark. And then ultimately, this is tiered. Remember XDC's first tier? Well, first tier right now, if you're an XLM, you're looking for the first tier at 24.78. Ultimately, you're looking for the culmination up to 26.2, with the understanding that it could hit a resistance here where I drew this line at 25.5 to back test on the way up. And I would almost look at the same kind of rhythmic flow as we had right here in XDC. Did we not call layer by layer? First move 6.2%. Then we called the back test, and this is what I'm the happiest about with XDC yesterday. We called that back test to the cojones in the Telegram. It was perfect. before the next layer up, and I'm very, very happy. Oh no, not XDC, I'm sorry. The back test on IOTA to the nutsos. We called it to the nuts. I said anybody who wasn't in it, well, maybe not to the nuts because it came down a tiny bit farther to 1546. But I told the Telegram if you were looking for an entry to buy it at 1549 after this push up and it went to 1546. What a beautiful back test buy-in. That's what I did. After the push up, I bought back on the back test and then I wrote it up to the initial move and then I flipped into XLM. That's all I did. I shared it in the Telegram move by move by move. Even the setup before that was played out. I think I have it on my... the hell with it. We'll just go into the Telegram and show everybody the value of it. Good morning. 10:13 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on this Sunday, July 6th, 2025. I'm XRP Future Millionaire, and I reside in the great state of Michigan. See, this is where we talked about to be careful about XLM, and then I told him I'm sorry about, but it worked out. So then we talked about the back test there and the measured move. And this is having foresight. We try to have foresight in the group, and I don't charge for any of this. We do this for free. We all talk, though. It's not me. It's everybody. Everybody talks. And then last night I had a party, and, you know, my son got a little sick earlier in the day. He had like a acid reflux style thing. It wasn't really a sickness. He has a G-tube, and sometimes, you know, you spit up or throw up a little bit. And he was fine. He had a great day after. He just needed to catch himself. So I paid attention to him a little more yesterday. We went outside multiple times. So he was great. Or we had the party on the 4th. And yesterday was, you know. So this is what we've been doing. And it's been spectacular. Like every single move, we've been voting on it. And we did great. IOTA, XDC, Algo. Nobody voted XLM yesterday because it wasn't ready yesterday. Today was the day. And that's the move that we targeted initially. And then it bounced out. And then after it made that move, I reevaluated it. And I said, listen, guys, the back test here is going to be at, what did we say, 1549, 1550, I believe. And then I said, if we get there, we go to 1597. If we get the back test properly. And what did we go to this morning? Like, this is right there, guys, for everybody. That was look how perfect that move was to what we targeted. So I figured instead of trading at the audience, because that's what it felt like. I felt like I was trading in the audience. Even if they were watching, there was no real direct way to see the trade. So now I've been doing it in the Telegram, in the new trading group that I created within the Telegram. It's a separate part of the Telegram. And I think it's been working great this weekend. Now you got to stay in tune. But like the reason I'm so on front with XLM is like when we start looking at these time frames, XRP's well over in a golden cross in the 4-hourly, super far ahead of XLM. XDC now super far ahead. It's almost on point with XRP now. Then you look at measly old XLM. It hasn't even got up to the 200-day yet. This is short movement. This is where you want to be right now within the 3. I know we were just talking XDC, but in the ratio that I go by, XLM's the better deal right now. Only because of where it's set up within the settings. Now, I encourage you, if you're not a seasoned veteran on TradingView, go to my website, xrpfuturemillionaire.com. We're only probably within 2 to 3 weeks now of me having this at 100% capacity, understanding how to do these lives on here, because I've been working my ass off. If you don't understand, go to XLM. Oh, you can even do this. Remember I said I had everything set up? Go to the XLM XRP setup. Look at that ratio right now on the pairing. Look at that ratio. What I would advise you to do is you go on here. This is all free to you. I put this in my own money. The people who helped me do this, and the suggestions were to charge for this website because you can get your money back and yada, yada, yada. And there's a lot of information. I said I'm not doing that. So I paid for a dedicated server for 5 years already. It cost me about $2,700 for dedicated server. So that no matter how many people are on here, it goes lightning quick. I don't want it slow as shit. By being on a shared server, I'm not doing it. And then I paid, it's about a total of $5,000 between the 5 years of web hosting and all this other crap, the actual website and the dedicated servers. So look at the MACD. See how that's flipping from red? This is a in the moment flipping from negative money flow versus XRP, and now it looks like the positive flow. We might be on the candle that it's flipping right now. You see the importance of the moving average convergence divergence, and that's why I'm showing you it every single time within the website. Nothing special. Volume's automatically on here. That's the way I set it up. So you can only have 3 indicators, so volume's automatically there, and I'm sorry, but that's the way I have it set up because I believe it's the single most important indicator is the volume. Then the moving average convergence divergence because you can see the negative flow to positive flow and vice versa. And then I suggest you put the RSI on, relative strength index only, general RSI, so you can see it. Now look for XLM. It's starting to round that bottom. It's leveled out that yellow resistance line. Once the purple price action runs through that trend line, it's game on. And notice how the money flow is flipping positive. Well, it's at least flipping from negative to white now. This is the early indicator that we're flipping, and this is the XLM XRP setup. So now, what I want to do is, remember how I had the XDC XRP? Well, we're going to flip this now because they've basically evened out. Now we're going to go, not evened out, but it's starting to rotate in the direction it needs to. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take it one step farther. Now look where XLM is versus XRP. Doesn't this look familiar to where XDCs was versus XRP just a few short days ago? Now the question is, you've never seen it this low. We are at an all-time low versus XRP. So when you want to look at opportunity, I am looking at opportunity. When you want to look at potential, I'm also looking at potential. And just because I have a 10x trade on XLM, that doesn't mean I don't have spot. That just meant that in my swing trading amount, it was targeting me and pulling me towards XLM. Because of the way this is set up, the long position sent me in the position of not XDC now, but in XLM's direction, at least for the foreseeable future. And I think it was a total of, and I'm not into this. I'm going to buy a whole bunch of different things. I like the all for one or one for all type moments in these. So when I looked at it, I said, you know, you can either buy the leverage trade now, or you can wait for this daily because it's still tricky. And I decided, hey, even though the XLM XRP pairing is still kind of in question, it was more in question because of XRP's momentum, which told me that this was probably a pretty good spot, you know, to do what I need to do. And here's the truth. On BITUNIX, when you're trading these kind of things, the fees on spot are minute, especially for XLM and XRP. There's so much volume that you can fill your limit orders so very easily. It's not like XDC where you might get a little bit of volatility. You're going to fill it pretty easily. And you got to stand pat because it's going to take a second. There's other people with orders, and I always tell people, put it into a spot where you think is realistic, and then you just do your dirty work. You know, do your dirty work and let it fill. That's all you can do. What would I do this morning? I would just be looking at what we're talking about. Even DGB's in a great spot this morning, and if it wasn't for all the nonsense, I would probably go that direction too. If it was on BITUNIX, FYI, I would go that route. I would end up going that route. There's no doubt about it. But yeah. So I'm going to go through some of the comments, see what everybody thinks. I want to know from all of you too, have you been liking the approach lately? Something's changed because we went over 45,000 subs. 45? Julie, didn't I say 44,008 something the surge yesterday? Wow. We were stuck at 44,700 until this weekend for like a week and a half. And now all of a sudden this, you know, I think people do appreciate when we're making money, and just, I think the simple approach change is helping this community. I really do, and it's not because of copy trading. This is where we're trading with each other. That's another thing. We're actually trading. So if I'm looking at an entry point, and if this actually plays out, because there's going to have to be some consolidation every step of the way. I wonder if we could reposition the morning flow to the downside. Already came through there. Because I almost think you'd have to ride this right now until it got to its destination. 2 hourly's back testing the 2 hourly, so you'd want to get an entry around there if you think it's going to pan out. It just feels like this would be where to go with the long position. It's got that beautiful W Gartley reversal. Nice flag there that it's breaking out of, if you want to look at it in symmetry. Makes the higher low. Remember what we talked about with XDC, the higher, or the XLM, the higher, IOTA yesterday, the higher lows, it's the same philosophy here. It really is. You go from a series of higher lows, so you have a low, higher low. Now, if this becomes the bottom and another higher low and it plays off of that, now you play through the expanded uptrend, and then you start playing off of that every bounce. Hell, it could even be a little bit lower, sorry. Or you could do it like this. But I don't like to come from here when it's a higher low, because then when you do this, it seemingly cuts off this to make a higher low here, but you're looking at that W reversal to be the ultimate break point. So I almost think you want to look at the expansionary zone right there. And you'd have to look at it from that perspective. I don't think he's done snacking. I think he's going back for a chippy. What kind did he grab? Oh, that's a good choice. Crackers are good. So I'm sorry it took me so long to get through this, but I'm trying to share with you the things that I'm seeing right now. And they don't, like I said, eventually if these are bearish, they could break down and we could get stuck. But we try to ride these until the scenario breaks down. So at the end, sometimes it does come back, you know, and it just ends. Now, like I said, I'm looking at this avenue because it's so far behind. And I'm trying to find the proper entry if somebody's not in it, like from a spot perspective especially. Because it's going to be dangerous leverage. Don't get me wrong. We've gotten the 2 hourly positive flow. So that's at least good that we're showing volume coming in. I would say that round... It really is back testing this potential move right now. I would say the 200-day right now is that mark. Your want entry is close to the 24.1 right now if this is going to pan out. With the understanding that 24 cents could hold, even if it wanted to come down overzealously. It's really in that area, though. If you were taking a shot, I mean, it's in that area. And there's no easy money. So it's the same thing we said with IOTA, the same thing we said with XDC. And you're buying it on a leap right now. That this is behind and that it's going to have the same kind of opportunity. So if that's me, that's where the opportunity meets demand. It's right at the 200-day, and that's likely where you would have to make that demand point. And it fills pretty quickly. I wanted to see what it was going to do there. And on BITUNIX, because I wanted to see what the spot was doing right now. So the spot, I like to be very, very transparent so that you know what you're getting into if you're trying to buy. So I tried to buy it at the 200-day in spot just to see what it would do on a limit order. And I had it set at, let's see. Where did this fill? Details. Okay. So BITUNIX right now is filling it a little bit sporadically. Nothing crazy. Where the orders because of where you have to set it up, and plus I did a large amount just to see what it was looking like. It filled most of them at 2428. So even though the price is at 2424, some of them filled at 2428. A little of it filled at 243. So it seems like a lot of the interest is around 243 on BITUNIX, FYI. So that's where it seems like a lot of the action is right now. Around, 243 area, even though it's around 2424, 243, or 2414, 2424. So you got a lot of action around there. So I'm just, it's interesting to see all of that. I don't know if any of you have studied that, but it's pretty interesting. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking at this morning. I know it's been 23 minutes, but I think that was a good way to do the intro and to get through what we're doing. John Bugathorpe, welcome in. Thanks for being in Tom's Army for 1 year with the I Told You So badge. How confident am I for a move of 265? Well, if you're looking for that move, technically you don't want to buy in yet. You're looking for that takeover and that hold to 229, but at this point, my confidence level has gone from about a 48% chance when we were talking about it before to about a 72% chance. Because I believe what they're trying to do is they're going to have some kind of volatility to the upside so that anybody who's part of this whale holdings, especially if there's a big sell-off in Bitcoin, they're going to get Bitcoin up near, and what I was looking at, it makes sense. We have a technical run up of Bitcoin first layer, and it's a little bit lower because it did take a little bit longer on this reconsolidation. But still, that gets you up to like 118,480. Even in this rising triangle, if you want to call it, you should get a resistance of 114,000 roughly, 113.8. So either way, it looks like Bitcoin should run up here. And then if we do break out here without any further back testing of the CME gap, you should, if it's not a triple top, because everybody's saying it's a triple top, you can't say that yet. I've heard it a lot. Hey, it's a triple. You can't say it yet. Or a quadruple top, like 1, 2, 3. You can't say it's over yet because the actual run up for the final rejection would be around 113,900, 114,000. So that's tomfoolery. That's tomfoolery. And to the extent that if it breaks up there and breaks out, you have that inverse pattern breaking out with a slightly inclined right shoulder, which shows a lot of strength on the right side of the head, of the inverse head. That should get us up to like 144, where I aimed at the blue sign. That's if it breaks out of that formation. So we're either going to 114 or 123 or 124 to finish the actual cup and handle, which would be right around here, 122. Let's put a price label on all three zones. Let's put a price label. And then you can see the potential. So if we break out of only the cup and handle, right? In the start of this pattern, we're going to 122. If we take it one step farther and we don't make it here and we only come up to the initial push, we come up to about 118. Take it a step farther and we only come up to the rising triangle resistance. We come up to 113.6, we'll call it. And then if you want to take it to the final level and we take this to maximum capacity without any real consolidation, you start coming up to 142. So those are all your scenarios. So at the very least, it would look like we need to come up to 113.6. And since we didn't fall out to 91.9 area at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange CME gap, seems like the most likely scenario is to start melting up here a little bit. Obviously, that can be invalidated if we break through these areas. But as of right now, no invalidation has occurred. I need to grab my candle real quick because we're going to relax together. And Julie's making a fresh load of Italian bread, and it's rising right now. So when I get to eat around noon, I'm going to be able to eat my homemade Italian bread. I'm so excited. So very excited. Don't forget to give thanks to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ here on a Sunday morning. If you're going to church, God bless you. I won't be in church today. I'll be back next week. I'm going to my dad's later today, assuming my son's doing good, but I want to stay home and monitor him just to make sure all of his feedings go good and whatnot. He's been doing great so far this morning. So I'm excited because I want to spend the night at my dad's the whole day. We were going to go last night, but he didn't get home till 8, and since my son had like a little bit of, I'm going to call it acid reflux, or a little bit of bile from his G-tube, which is not uncommon, so. Anyhow, let's get through this, but I think we're doing great this morning. I think all of you are doing great. I think the way we're describing this, you guys have given me another layer of confidence of being able to share trades in the Telegram without having to do copy trading, because I don't necessarily like it. There's too many scammers. But if you're in the Telegram, please join it. Please partake in it. Be a part of this. There's no such thing as cheap, easy money. The more time you, and I'm telling you, there's people in the Telegram right now that have never made this much money. I guarantee it. They're making probably more trading than they are at their weekly job, and that's a good thing. You might think it's a bad thing, folks, but even I have an income outside of trading. Some of it's passive now, but I have like my YouTube stuff that if I'm lucky and I'm getting the proper support, it's about $2,000 a month. I know that sounds like trash for how much time I put into it. I get it, but it's still something. So it's a steady income in that sense. Would I like it to be more and be more people in Tom's army and sending super chats and more viewers overall? Sure. Am I greedy? No. I didn't need it to start anyhow, and I still don't need it. But it does give me that extra layer of I can start doing other things like the website, because that cost me like $6,000 in totality probably. But because of the generosity of all of you, it allows me to do it. But your passive income or your actual income at work, that's not a big, guess what? We need that income to build portfolios. You know, and once we get up to higher portfolio holdings, that and only then is when we can get out of the rat race. That's what I've been trying to teach. And I think a lot more of you are understanding. You're not trying to leave your job. Your job is what's paying the bills and allowing you to invest into your future. And eventually future meets investment if you do it properly. And then you don't have to do it at such a hardcore level in the work field. But you still want to. You always want to work no matter what. No matter how much money I have, I'm always going to work. I'll always be here. Oliver Marks, Crazy Paul, Amanda Shea, welcome in. And thanks for being in Tom Zone for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. Shane, good morning to you. And thank you for allowing me to use you as an example this morning in a good way. Arichi and Crypto Cooter, welcome in. And thanks for being in Tom Zone for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Mosey here in UK. Phil, welcome in, and thank you both for being longtime viewers and both being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Bad in UK. Phil, yesterday I was on Fortnite. My partner left in Reload, which I didn't even want to play, but he invited me to a party, and he left, and I still won the game of Reload. So it doesn't matter how short the stack is. Good strategy, and it was 2v, well, it was 2 teams versus 2v2v1. And I played it good, rode the storm, and 2v1. I dropped the first person's pants, and before the second person even realized, I ended his life with a sniper. So one with the shotgun, one with the sniper as he came to try to help his teammate. I even said to Julie, I'm like, they don't even know what hit him. I just ruined some kid's night, and I'm all for it. Dennis Smith, good morning. King Day Day, welcome in. Love it. Jorge says, hello, people. Hello, Tom. Everyone, remember to hit that like button and consider subscribing to Tom's channel for the best technical analysis on YouTube. This guy is the GOAT. I appreciate that, and thanks for being a very trusted mod and also being in Tom's Army for 6+ months with the XRP Predictor. Rich J, good morning. Love seeing you here as always. Mellow Mania, welcome in. Hi, Tom. Do you think it's wise to roll over some XRP profits into XLM? That is a choice that only you can make. But according to the XRP XL or the XLM XRP pairing, could be a rough moment still to do that because it could still show. I know it's surprising, and this is no fault of XLM, but we could be showing if this doesn't reverse right now, and you'd be looking for a rejection at the 20 days, so you measure it appropriately. Could come down to that 9 cent area for the XLM pairing if it gets a rejection. However, this could be the bottoming phase. Like, remember what we looked at with XDC versus XRP? This almost looks very similar to that bottoming phase. We'll see if this keeps expanding like this. If it is, you'd expect to see, so you come down, came down to a little bit of a bottom. Now this should do something like this, and then you can get that volatile bounce at least out to here. So we don't know. We have to watch that to see if it's smart. It's definitely taking a leap, that's for sure, because instead of getting 10,000 XRP at this point, you'd get about 107,000 approximate. No, you'd get I guess you'd get about 100,000. No, about 90,000 XLM, 88,000 XLM. But yeah, I mean, it would be, honestly, like I told everybody, I have no problem with it. It's just you might regret it after if it doesn't move as fast. Oh, of course. XLM just went from 1.5% to 2.47% while we were talking about that. But yeah, according to the XLM XRP pairing, there's going to be a huge reversal to XRP at some point. We've seen it with XDC as well. That's how we were able to run this. And now it's breaking out. So now the good news is it doesn't look like it's going to backtest here. Looks like we should come out to that 6.9 area. Then you might do something like that. Or you break past and then you backtest here. But it's been such a long time. Be surprised if you don't backtest sometime around there. But upward and onward and upward, as I say. We're just looking for volatility and some money to be made. Tanya, welcome in, love, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years with the XRP 589 Moon Badge. Incredible. I hope you're doing swell, my love, and thank you so much for continuing to tune in. Mark Caston, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year with the I Told You So Badge. Michael Kennedy, good morning. Cowabunga, What is Uniswap? I mean, it's just another cryptocurrency. It has a lot of integration, let's say. There's a few people that are fans of it. Me personally, I don't really pay attention to it. To me, it's just another one. Um, some people they like Uni and SUI and all those compared to the XRPs and XLMs of the world because that's the side they like to roll with. I like the other side of town. I did talk about the old Bitcoin wallets at the beginning, about the fact that they're back online. I'll share you the information that I had from yesterday. Let me make sure I kept it in my Gmail. Plus, I have to make sure that all my stuff is there. Yep, it's there. I can pull this back up. I talked about it by mouth, just by audio. I was speaking it when I first started. But this is what he's speaking of. So these are the transactions that happened that I noticed. So these were the 8 separate transactions. And then somebody had posted, so I screenshotted it because it's exactly what happened. I don't know where they got it from, but they probably did it from somewhere else. But they obviously copied and pasted. But it says for the first time in 14 years, 8 old Bitcoin wallets have been activated in the past 24 hours. And these are obviously probably old miners. They transferred a total of 80,009 Bitcoin worth approximately 8.69 billion. It started with 4 wallets which sent 40,000 Bitcoin, around 4.35 billion. Later, 2 more joined in, each transferring 10,000 Bitcoin, bringing the total to 60,000. Then 2 additional addresses were activated, completed the series of transfers. All of this Bitcoin was originally received back in 2011 when the Bitcoin ranged between 78 cents and $3.37 per token. 4 other wallets of the same age remain inactive. This is the largest movement of funds from so-called sleeping wallets in a long time, and the crypto community is in a panic. So what I said yesterday was, yeah, maybe they're getting ready because they see something. But what did we speak of yesterday? Particularly yesterday in particular. The fact that if they're going to sell out, we're going to have to see some kind of positive inflation or appreciation. Now, does it just push up to these resistance areas where we're at now? Nobody knows. So our understanding was we'll try to ride this out for profit and just do the micro movement. So I've just been doing it to resistance level to resistance level. Right now, the resistance level, the first one for XLM, if it breaks up to the 200-day, it matches up pretty nicely. The first layer should be somewhere in here. So about 24.8 cents is where that first resistance layer you'd play it up to. And from when I talked about it this morning, around 23.8 or whatever it was at, the maximum or the short potential was 4%. The targeted move was, in totality, was about 10%. So I just figured we'll keep doing this micro movement. I have no problem doing it like this when it's very volatile. And then making everybody look and be like, hey, if it breaks the 200-day, you can make a decision at 24 cents. If it's in the 200-day and the 2-hourly, you can make that decision. But ultimately, this pattern to me is not invalidated for XLM until it breaks 234. But going all the way to 234 is obviously a little bit of a, there's a little bit of a risk there is all. That's all. It's nothing major. But we'll see how this morning plays out. We'll see how this morning plays out. Yeah. Oh, it's going to be done before I can eat.
Well, it has to sit for a while.
True. So yeah, I mean, that's basically where we're at. I'll go through the comments and get more question and answers, but that's where I'm at this morning. Hardcore, this is where I sit this morning. I feel pretty good about my own decision making. But the spot positioning, I haven't bought the big position yet for XLM. I've just been doing it in the leverage just in case, for transparency, just in case. I don't know what's going to happen here this morning. But I have a lot of exposure through it in that regard. I have, how much in cash? Let's see. This needs to, I got a decent amount in cash right now. So yeah, the cash is going to sit there for a while. It's just going to be kind of moving through the leverage side of town for a little bit at least. But there's almost 26,000 in cash, so that's what I kind of have moving around. I got 2,500 in the leverage side, but that could go down if this doesn't pan out. So I mean, that's not permanent. Louisville, welcome in along with John Patak. Thank you both for being in Tom's Army for over 2 years. The XB589 Moon Badge. Let's see. Burn Everything, good morning. Michael Kennedy, welcome in. Richard, good morning. Aaron, how do you join the Telegram? Let me share it in this live. I'll share the link if you guys want to join the Telegram. There's 366 members, but don't create volatility in there. It's positivity over negativity. We're helpful, not hurtful. If I see somebody who's trying to change the energy, there's no warnings. The truth is, the only warning is there are no warnings. So if you're a dick, I'm not putting up with it. If you're cool, you're welcome. If you have that good positive flow, that's all I ask for. That's it. It's hard enough to trade this game. So there's the Telegram if you guys are interested. But since I have the leverage on XLM from a spot position, I'm trying to figure out in this live where to go as well, whether it's XLM, whether it would be looking at IOTA on the back test, because Algo to me hasn't broke out either yet. That's another one that is still trying to make that initial move to the 4 hourly. And it's already back tested the formation. Looks like a solid inverse right shoulder. So that's where we would have to question, is that where the next movement would be in as far as the permanent position, or would you go Alga or IOTA? That's the question. To me, I'm having a hard time not going IOTA with the spot positioning, I'll be honest. And you guys can give me your feedback in the comments, because that was what I was going to talk about here to finish. Where do I put my spot holdings? Where do I put that $25,000 at? Where does that go? And I'm looking for a one in. You know, I'm not looking to separate it. I'm looking for where that opportunity is. It could be somewhere else. Syrian, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army for over 1 year now with the I Told You So Badge, being a very, very trusted mod. I really appreciate that. Happy Sunday to you. Frankie Fresh, welcome in, and thanks for being in Tom's Army 3+ months with the XP Meteor. Strider, welcome in. Tyler, are you buying ZBC? And I haven't yet, but definitely something we could look at this morning as well. I've been in it multiple times, but I haven't bought in the re-entry because it hasn't got... Remember where my level was? Does anybody remember what I said? I felt there was a gap at what level? And when did I say I'd buy it? And when did I say I wouldn't? So, I felt like there was a gap right there. 0021. And I argued my point with everybody that that gap area would be at 0021, much like when I bought it at 0014 before that parabolic spike. When I sold it, I said I would not buy it until 0021. And yes, I meant that. So absolutely, we'll see when that... It's almost there, actually. So if it gets there... Ooh. I didn't know it had dropped 10% today. I wasn't paying attention. So yeah, that's getting very close on ZBC, and I'm glad somebody brought that up. Who said that? Tyler, yeah, we're going to have to pay attention to this. Hold on, let me go to my website real quick. I want to put this in the website. I find it easier to show everybody now on the website because it's so much bigger, the chart. So let's look at this from a different... Whoops. Let's get ZBC. I want to clear it out though. Let's get ZBCN real quick. And if you're interested, the website's free. It's free in case something ever happens on YouTube. You'll have a place to find me. I've had a lot of content taken down recently, as you know. Excuse me. I've had a warning on my account that doesn't clear until at the end of next month. So one more bad thing and they'll just ban me for a week. So let's put on the MACD. We've seen that with XLM, that money's finally positively about to start flowing back into XLM, it looks like. But I can't see it on here with this chart. So we might have to just move into the market cap for ZBCN and just see. Sometimes it's harder on these smaller coins to get these indicators. Something you'll notice. So you got to find the right chart. We'll just go into the ZBAC network and do it that way. Probably going to be the easiest way. See if we can get an indicator on here by the MACD. There might not be enough data. Yeah, see, that's the problem. We got no data as far as it works for ZBCN. Sometimes it makes it hard to see all of these. Let's put it into the hourly. At least we can see it there because we don't have a big enough to see it in the monthly. So we can go into the weekly at least. And everything you can do it right here. It'll be easier. So weekly, we broke bearish in the RSI. Money flow is not looking so great here. So, well, last time when it flipped real quick, then it went real positive again. So it's not that we're getting a lot of negatives, red pressure, but it's definitely flowing in the wrong direction here. But like I said, I'm not ready yet for ZBCN until it flows into the area we talked about. And that's still, from where it's at, still a decent drop. I mean, it doesn't look far on the sheet. But you're talking about another 13% still. So we'll see. Now, I'm not interested yet because, like I said, I follow where I put it. But it's obviously getting very, very close. Very, very close. Yeah, I just feel like it's going to do the same thing. But it did, unfortunately, for us, if we're looking for a lower number, it built that inverse head and shoulders. Just out of curiosity, I want to see where the money's flowing right now. Into data. Well, we still have a couple minutes together. I know some people are going to leave because I'm flowing off topic, but so be it. God, that looks like it could be rounding the bottom, too, on the chart. See how the moving average convergence divergence looks real quick. Ooh, see? That's where it makes me nervous. It's flipping back to neutral after a series of red. Ooh. And year-to-date, it's down 70%. 6 months down 71%. 3 months up 10%. 1 month up 11%. 1 week down 7%. Interesting. That money's starting to flow. It seems like it could be reversing right now. Huh. We have a call to make with data, folks. As much as I want that lower level, I'll be darned if I don't think it might be rounding the bottom right now. Even the RSI's rounding here back into more neutral levels. Fuck me. I didn't realize in the... is that in the monthly at least? No, okay, good. Let me go into the monthly. Okay, that is in the bigger time frame. Oh, shit. That money's flowing back. In the monthly. In the MACD. That's... honestly, that's starting to flow back in the... that's what you want. That's a positive symbol. Look what happened the last time it flowed back into what? You had a sideways or up consolidation. Then you flew green. Then you came back to consolidate. But now it's quickly flowing back into the neutral. Like the money's flowing from selling and it's starting to reverse back into a positive flow. This is that intermediate. This is where you can get that short signal here. Like even though the price was going down, it's a lagging indicator in a sense that it's telling us. Ooh. I want to know what the audience thinks about that. Feels like algo should be the play along with data and IOTA. I know XLM too for that other trade because of money, but I'm trying to look at what would make us the most money. It would probably be data. IOTA, BITUNIX, but you have to buy it on the... is it on only the future side right now, IOTA? I can't remember. I think IOTA is just on the future side of BITUNIX, if I'm not mistaken. I got so many things I look at. Hold on just a second. I don't want to give you the wrong information. Yeah, IOTA's only on the future side. But you can do it in 1x, so you can buy it on there. That's where I like to do it because the fees are way, 99% cheaper than the rest. It's pretty ironic. Crazy, actually. Fuck me. Data. I'll be... God. What do you guys think of data? Cannabis Podcast, welcome in and thanks for being in Tom Zombie for over 3 months with the XRP Meteor. Awesome. Awesome. James Dula's in data. Well, that's one. James, good morning to you, my friend. Glad to see you in here. I love data. It's just I've been waiting for that rounding the bottom moment, but that money's flowing. That money's showing us the reversal. I'm thinking, let's see where we need to go in the 4 hourly. Yeah, we're trying to reverse it as we speak. So if you buy it, it'd be with the understanding of that basically we're transcending ourselves now. We went from here, and this would be the takeout low now. So now you'd be with the understanding you're in until 139 at minimum. Or you can do the floor down at 133. But I wouldn't ride it to the floor, because why not? Why would you ride it like that? If it breaks this formation at 139, hell, you could even say in the 4 hourly, why go there? There's a W reversal here. If it breaks 141, fuck me. I might have to buy this in my spot. That's why this is a great tool to have for me personally too, because now I can look at the actual trading view and then on the website too, and look how much bigger that is for all of you to see compared to what it shows me on TradingView. That looks super bullish. It really looks like it's rounding the bottom, and the money flow on the MACD, moving average convergence divergence, that flow, it's telling us an early indicator that it's flipping back to a positive flow. Fuck. I hate making moves on Sunday. Now the question is, whenever I feel like this, it's like you either trust your gut or you don't. You know what? There's only one way to do it but to do it. Sorry, I'm just trying to see where the market orders are going to put us. And to see how it fills. Wow, that filled very quick. And this is not, and there's no leverage here, folks. I'm not talking fucking leverage here. We're talking a bona fide opportunity. And it's going to be a leap of faith, because that's a death cross right there you're playing against. And you're playing in the hopes that this is a lagging indicator and we're actually on the verge of breaking out. Now, smart money's not going to come in until you ride back up here to about 152. Because they're going to be afraid to get in right now. So just consider that. How big of a risk is this in spot? Ooh. That's about a 5.3%. That's about $500. Well, $360 risk on every $10,000 right there if you do it in spot. It's not horrible. $500 at the bottom. But it does seem like you're at an early swing point. Ah, fuck it. My order filled. So it did it in the beginning of my little talk. I bought 1,022,200 of them. 1.0222 million, like $14,000 worth. So that's either gonna not flow like we're thinking and gonna bite me in the ass, or that is rounding the bottom, and that's an inverse right shoulder, and we're early on this reversal. So that's where we're at right now. And then I didn't put it all into it because I was still looking at algo and IOTA, and I'm trying to figure out in my own head, IOTA needs to come up to this resistance area still, right? So it's still on the bottom side of the resistance area. However, algo is on the top side and seemingly has this entire pattern set up to where if it's moving, it's going to get ready to imminently move out to the 200 at 1825. And then the moment this breaks out, you're going to have a kind of like what XDC is doing, how it's overrunning now. This has been such a big downtrending pattern that it looks like you'd start to get movement up to 20 cents, then 25, and then ultimately it looks like the big mesh point's going to be up at 57 at some point. The market, it's disguising a bearish moment. It's not necessarily about the volume. It's on Sunday. You're looking for, so the reason with data, what we're looking at, is you see how right here it was red? You're looking for when it starts to flow in the opposite direction. And right now you're getting a very quick guidance here within these monthlies. Look how it started to flip white. The next flow here is going to turn into a small green, and then it could go real big. So it's literally starting to flip around now. Like now it's starting to flow the opposite direction. We're starting to round. So we're trying to call an early moment here. It could be too soon. But this certainly looks like one of those moments where you could be like, oh man, if we ride this and look at it properly now, there's no risk, no reward. You know, and even if this all comes apart, so be it. Still be a good weekend. But I can only look at what I'm looking at now. I don't advise you to do what I do. I'm not a financial advisor. But if it meets some of your own goals, or you're trying to take a risk at the same way I am at certain levels, you know, and it's just the way it goes. You know, I don't know if this is going to pan out. Like I said, I hate doing this on Sundays, so that does bother me a little bit. It does. I don't like doing this on Mondays. Bottom line, I don't like to do it on Mondays. Whoops. Now all my stuff got messed up. Ah! Because I went to a different chart. Oh no, but we're in between. This could be a very, 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 very wise decision or not. But yeah, I know everybody's getting ready to leave. I know you know I'm getting ready to leave. I'm just kind of talking now. But I like the way that this is starting to flow. Like that is starting to flow in a, what it's showing us is that we're starting to run out of steam to the downside. And when that starts happening, you start doing a sideways and up consolidation. We've seen it before. And And there's not a lot of sell pressure here this time. So it can be a very quick rounding of this bottom. And it looks like that inverse right side is set up. And if it does pull up, you got a nice W Gartley formed here as well on the latter part of this move. So, yeah, I'll look at ICP real quick. Shane. ICP at $4.81, up 0.9% on the day. It's another one that has that exact same kind of setup. Came down to the bottom support perfectly. Now it's got to come up and pass this first resistance to open up the door. It's got the 4-hour time frame that it's come up to a few times but failed. Here, I'll put it in here too. Let's see how ICP's looking with the MACD and everything. Just out of curiosity. This almost looks like XLM when it was starting to fade. But look how it's starting to, the support structure, it's about to bounce on it. There was never any real negative flow. Just from that perspective, it's either going to have a big sell candle or it's about to have a nice push up. Because there's no real red flow here lately. It's just a decrease in green volume. Yeah, first goal right now, it looks like at some point today it's going to come up to 490. Get on top of that and you'll start riding up here. It's got to back test again. Right now that 490, it's going to back test in the 2 hourly to see if this was bearish or if this was just coming down for extra support, which with the way the market is right now, looks like it's one of those extended consolidations that looks like it's going to pop back up. So I think right now it looks like it's in a positive positioning, but you can't really tell. You'll never really know until it finally does what it needs to do. But right now, looking good. If I'm being honest, right now it's looking good. I've been looking at Magic too here lately. And if I was a bet man, I'd say something weird's developing here on Magic. And I don't know enough about it to be like, oh, buy it. And I haven't bought it. But I'll be damned if I don't think something's setting up right there. I've been watching it for weeks now because of some of the people in the audience. And it's finally kind of grabbed me by the nuts and said, hey, pay attention here. This is probably where you've been waiting for. Maybe a little bit farther down, but it's been speaking to me. So I don't know. There's just not a lot of volume. Is that the right one that it picked up? Yeah, I guess it is. There's not a lot of volume in it. But damn, it looks like it might be ready. Anybody else see that? Made a perfect inverse right arm on this setup, on the second part of it. That's one that's... Is that on BITUNIX Magic, just out of curiosity? Maybe not. That's not one you usually hear about, if I'm being honest. I'll be damned, it's on both sides of it. Anybody who's in here still, what do you think about Magic? I just being honest with that setup. It's fucking crazy that it's like that and we're talking about it this morning. It's like I almost want to take a shot here. If you were ever going to take a shot, this would be the spot. It's just, that's like a 20% drop it could take to invalidate this. Or 10%. No, I know Algo is the one that... So that's one of the things I was watching. So it's not just one thing, which is good. Algo right now at 1771. That's the one that I really could see making a big bounce as well. And like I said, there's a big target up here. Around that 57 cent area. And it's broke out. It's like legitimately broke out. So I don't know. There's a lot of things that I'm looking at and I'm like, Jesus Lord. If this does pan out, I mean... Oh, Algo goes real fast. Real fast. So... That's why I'm torn right now. XLM, I did go with the futures, like I said, and it's doing great for me. I went with data, which I don't know how it's going to do. It's up a little bit, but this is just the primary movement because we tried to front run it through that death cross break back through. So yeah, I'm torn. My gut's telling me take a real hard look at Magic. It really is, and I hate when my gut does this on tokens that I'm not as familiar with. But it does it based on formation setup and fucking A. How much would this cost? Out of curiosity. If I went... Almost tempted to buy 22,200 tokens of Magic. It's about a $2,681 investment. Fuck, man. I wish I knew more about Magic, but that looks like a setup that I like. What I might do, just because I'm not as familiar, is take out a leverage trade instead. Sometimes I do this when I'm not as familiar with something, because then I can put less money at risk, but you're still going to come up with the same loss. It's like when you see something, you know you see something. Then you got to convince your brain that you actually are seeing it. That's where I'm at right now. Then you got to see where it would fill. So if it fills it too high, there's no point. For everybody who's staying, this is, you guys are just seeing a little bit deeper into my thought process, that's all. You know what, guys? I did it. I did buy 22,200 Magic. The hell with it. I'm putting a $2,500 risk. It cost me $2,627. So $2,600 position. I just see something there, and if it breaks down, I'm okay with it only having that much in it. But I see something volatile probably setting up there. Oh yeah, I'm keeping like 4,000 or 5,000. I want to keep to the side for ZBC on if and when it goes to that area. Well, I have to challenge myself because I need to see if it's real. You know what I'm thinking? The only other one that's bothering me is Algo. Algo really is bothering me, and so is Theta. Like, those are the two. Iota. Because this is one that's going to bother me forever, because look how that back tested the inverse head and shoulders. The only good thing about Theta is, like, I know for a fact you can't buy it on spot, which is why I don't look at it as much on BITUNIX. But I do know Theta, you can buy it on leverage. And then it becomes, well, do I really want to spend that leverage? You know, and that's where it becomes the hard part. So... But yeah, just pay attention to all of these because they're bona fide in that positioning. I love XRP Healthcare. I have over 62,000 tokens that I'm just letting stay until it does what it needs to do. Unless it comes down to the next layer. If it comes back down to 2.5, I'm going to be buying more and sending them to the wallet and just letting them build. Where do I think data goes from here short term? It's impossible to say. But if this is really rounding the bottom and we're out ahead of this, first target's going to be around 1.6 cents. But eventually, I think it's working on a cup here. If it doesn't come all the way down, let's just say it never comes down to the bottom point. The flow is starting to work. Because when I said that, I didn't know it was going to form an inverse head and shoulders there with that big W reversal. You know, so I don't necessarily think that's going to break down like that anymore just because of the points of interest we have here. Like, we can articulate this a little bit more. Like, we have another area here, which is the head. Could it be another point of support, the round of the bottom? So, what I fully see happening here is it's a big descending consolidation, which this could be a bullish reversal here. But I'm seeing this developing here, like this nice cup. And if that's the case, you're talking about coming up to 2.7 cents here on this move. On this total move, if it breaks out and this is actually the start of the reversal and the money flows in, the next time we talk about this, it's not going to be at 1.4, it's going to be at 2.7. So now you're talking about 100% more to buy this. So now I would be getting about 500,000 tokens instead of over 1 million. So it's, I think long term though, this is going huge. This is the Internet of Things thing. This is the same thing as ZBCN. I thought this was going to be the next one, like ZBCN and MXC, that hadn't made the move, that if we could find it in the right spot would make that move. So that's what I'm looking at. So, but I gotta go, everybody. I really do have to go because my son's getting his feeding. I've been on for an hour and 11 minutes. It's Sunday and I got stuff that I gotta do. File's another one though. See, we've talked about File and it's getting ready for that breakout. I circled the formation too because I think that's where it actually reversed. Where I circled it. Now if it breaks out, this is so early on as well. There's so many of them. See, this is why it sucks. Why it's kind of like, don't split it up into too many ways, but put it in the ones you think will go in the similar fashions. But the ones in your heart that you feel do the best gains, or the ones you're just most confident with. They're all up. Every single one of them, for the most part, Crypto Cooter will be up like that because you're buying off of an inverse right shoulder. You're not going to be buying the bottom because they made the inverse head. And data's no exception to the rule because the inverted head is down here. So you're buying it as if that's the inverse right shoulder creating and it's just early. It's the same problem I have with a lot of them because they're off of the head. But if you're buying it on the next part of the move, you have to kind of take that leap. Like XLM, the bottom was down at 21.7. So, I mean, you're all the way up over 20% there. Same thing with XRP. So you're kind of buying the formation. You know, you're buying the formation. And I'm being honest, it makes it tough when you start doing it like that. It really does. Like, it makes it tough. But it is what it is. Because you're trying to front run the inverse pattern breakout. But everything is technically a buy. Oh yeah, I forgot about AXLR. I've been watching it. Same thing with DAG. AXLR's got to be close too. It has to be. And we know it had a big spike in volume before. And the sell volume, there wasn't a lot of it. Man, that's actually pretty interesting. I'm glad you brought that up because that's actually one that tends to move in 50, 60, 70% style moves. It doesn't move slow. After this though, I'm going. I gotta go. I want to look at one thing though. I want to see this on the moving average convergence divergence. Although it might not give it to us because of the kind of chart it is. Let me refresh this. XLR. We will look at it on the US dollar. It'd be easier on this chart. Make it a lot easier. We'll get to see what we want. But yeah, I like these parts too, because then we're just kind of thinking as one brain of these lives. Yeah, see, there's not enough history right there. So we'll just go into, what is this? The hourly definitely got a positive flow, but the hourly is not enough. We need something a little more than the hourly. Let's go into, let's try the weekly. Nope. Daily. We should get something in the daily. Yeah, see, that's starting to reverse back as well. We could definitely be rounding the bottom. Volume's drying out. This is what you're looking for. Notice how it's going from the red and it's starting to flip back. Next flip is going to start to go to the green side. This is when you start to get that sideways, up and sideways consolidation when you start to see this kind of stuff. That looks like a rounding of the bottom too. Wow. I don't know. You're gonna have to make an educated decision here, folks, on what you want to do. XLR right now for 10,000 tokens is just under $3,200, which that is a steal from where it was at. Even from this last run up, it would have cost you 6,000. I mean, it came down for the huge 50% retracement. Lot to think about, group. Lot to think about. Nice, Crypto Cooter. Nice, nice, nice. I love it. Thank you all for the extended discussion. I really appreciate it. I know I'm gotta head out. I know somebody's been asking for VeChain, so I figure, where the hell is VeChain? Hey, for that matter, where the hell is Zill? Oh, there's VeChain. VeChain's got to be doing the same thing. It's got to be close. I mean, I've been waiting for this for a while. VeChain is definitely a good one to target because that's got a nice drop from 2.6, so that's a nice return right away. But eventually, VeChain's going to break right back out. It reset the whole pattern going all the way back to early 24. So it went back to the prior breakout level. So just like the Ross, if we're going to break bullish here short term, there's really not going to be that horrible of a decision to make. It's just going to be a matter of, do you buy them at the right time prior to the breakout and you don't have to sit through it for a little bit longer, I guess you can look at it. But yeah, we'll continue this discussion hopefully later at my dad's house because I'm going to use his office at night because it is Sunday.